Have you ever stared at a blank slide wondering where to begin or how you'll ever get this presentation finished? Copilot in PowerPoint can help you with that. Copilot is a powerful AI assistant that can help take your ideas from a prompt to a presentation. In this course, I'll demonstrate how to use Copilot to create a new presentation about a particular topic. And I'll show you how to point Copilot to an existing document and return the information in that document as a draft presentation. I'll walk you through various ways to understand and fine-tune your presentations, and I'll show you how to ask Copilot for help, whether you have a general presentation question or if you need help with a PowerPoint feature. And a special note to presentation professionals, Copilot can't replace you and your talents. However, when used as an assistant in PowerPoint, Copilot might just save you time. I'm Julie Terberg. I invite you to join me on my LinkedIn Learning course, Copilot in PowerPoint, from prompt to presentation. To get the most out of this course, there are a few things you should know. I'm working in PowerPoint, Microsoft 365 for Enterprise with an M365 Copilot subscription, and I'm on a Windows system. At the time of this recording, M365 Copilot is only available for enterprise customers who have licensed Copilot for use. Microsoft officials say they plan to make M365 Copilot available to business standard and premium subscribers, but no date has been provided yet. Your version of PowerPoint might look slightly different. Your version of Copilot might look slightly different too. Like other features in Microsoft 365 and PowerPoint, there will be updates and improvements to Copilot features and to the Copilot pane. The basic elements should remain the same. This course is designed for PowerPoint beginners, but the lessons on Copilot can be helpful to Power users too. I'll be demonstrating the Copilot pane, some tools on the ribbon, and also sharing some keyboard shortcuts. You can follow along with the basic steps in each lesson using templates, presentations, and documents on your own system. When you open a file or start a new presentation in PowerPoint, the Copilot button will appear on the top right side of the home ribbon. I've started a new blank file, and I'll select the Copilot button to launch the pane. The Copilot pane includes two main sections. The top portion includes a brief statement followed by a set of suggestions you can try. And the bottom of the task pane is the prompt window. This is where you send instructions to Copilot. The suggestions at the top of the task pane and the bottom in the prompt area will change depending on if you're working on a new file or a saved presentation. I've started a new blank file, so the top of the pane suggests three things to try. Create a presentation from file, or add a slide about. At the bottom, the prompt window reads, Ask a question or make a request. You can type directly into this prompt window. Ask Copilot a question or make a request. These are called prompts. Type a new prompt yourself or use one of the examples in the Copilot pane as a start and fill in the rest. Notice the small numbers at the bottom of the prompt window? This is the character count. You can type in a maximum of 2,000 characters, including spaces. There are also three icons in the prompt window. The first is View Prompt, then Microphone, followed by the send arrow. Choose the microphone to dictate directly into the prompt window. And select the send arrow each time you've finished typing a prompt and you're ready to hand it off to Copilot. The Enter key works the same way. After you've typed a prompt, press Enter on your keyboard to send it to Copilot. Select the icon to view prompts reveals more suggestions. Create, edit, ask, and view more prompts. When you choose one of these options, you'll see examples for how that type of prompt can help you create or edit content. I'll choose the Create prompt, and you'll see different examples like create a presentation from file, create a presentation about with some sample topic in parentheses, and add a slide about, with another example. When you select any prompt suggestion, the text is going to change in the prompt window to include that as starter text. I'll choose Create a Presentation About, and you'll see the blinking cursor appears, ready for me to describe what type of presentation I want Copilot to create. Alternatively, you can type the full prompt yourself. Going back to View Prompts, if I choose Edit, you'll see an example that says Add an image of, with a sample topic in parentheses. And going back to View Prompts, if I choose Ask, you'll see examples for how Copilot can help, including specific examples from your presentation. Now, the Copilot pane changes a little when you open an existing presentation. I'll open this Globe Bank presentation, and first off, we see a notification that says Get a Summary from Copilot. I'll choose Not Now and open up the Copilot pane from the Home ribbon. Because we're working with an existing presentation rather than an empty file, the suggestions for prompts change to Create a Presentation from File, Summarize this presentation, and Organize this presentation. Notice that Copilot has surfaced a couple of questions above the prompt window. These questions are directly related to the current presentation. If you select one of these questions, Copilot will review the presentation content and reply directly in the pane. With the same presentation open again, I'll choose the View Prompts icon. And now each prompt category is going to show additional examples that pertain to an existing presentation versus creating a new one. And there's a new topic, Understand. I'll select Understand, and you see examples for prompts to help you comprehend or gain insights about the presentation content. The examples include prompt ideas like summarize, show action items, or key slides. At the bottom of the Copilot pane, select the View Prompt icon, and you'll see an option to view more prompts. Choose this to open up the Copilot Lab window. Here you'll see more suggestions for how you can prompt Copilot to help you with your presentation. Some of these prompts are similar to those in the Copilot pane. Others offer new ideas such as Get a Head Start and Generate Ideas. At the top of the window, there's an option for saved prompts. You can bookmark any one of the prompts to save it, similar to bookmarks or favorites in a browser. There's an option for categories. You can choose from Create, Ask, Edit, and Understand to surface prompts for that type of task. I'll select Create, and that reveals prompt ideas for creating new slides or presentations. Under Generate Ideas, there's a full prompt example. Create a presentation about how to, with a sample in parentheses. When I select any one of these prompt ideas from the Copilot Lab window, it will populate the starter text in the prompt window. The blinking cursor signifies that you'll have to complete the prompt with your own specific request. At the bottom of the Copilot Lab window is a link to go to Copilot Lab. Pressing this button launches the Copilot Lab website. Now, on the website at the top are featured prompts, and scrolling down further on the page is a section called More Prompts to Try. There are two menus here, App and Categories. I'll open App and choose PowerPoint. And now the list of prompts are directly relevant to creating or editing a presentation. Under Categories, there are 5 topics. I'll select Create, which will narrow the prompt suggestions specific to that task, creating new slides or presentations. The Copilot Lab website also includes tips for writing better prompts, and there's an FAQ section about Copilot prompts. I imagine this site will grow with new prompt ideas as Copilot features evolve and expand. It's worth checking on occasion to see what's been added. When creating a new presentation with Copilot, You can begin with a blank file or one of the Microsoft templates. And as a big time saver, you can use Copilot to generate a new presentation from your company template or even an existing presentation. I'll start with a new blank file and create a presentation from a prompt. Select Copilot from the home ribbon to open up the Copilot pane. From the top of the pane, I'll choose Create a Presentation. And now at the bottom in the prompt window, I'll add a description of the presentation I want Copilot to create. I'll use a generic topic for this example, and I'll use the microphone to dictate the text into the prompt. Choose the microphone icon. About the benefits of eating fruits and vegetables. Press the microphone again when you're done talking, and now you can press Enter on the keyboard to send this instruction to Copilot, or use the send arrow. You'll see a few progress comments while Copilot is working, and at any point you can choose Stop Generating if you want to cancel the process. Done! Copilot has drafted 5 slides complete with photos and text describing the benefits of eating fruits and vegetables. Because I started with a blank, Copilot chose one of the Microsoft templates to complete the draft slides. The slides include titles, supporting text, and a picture relating to the content. Looking at the speaker notes, open up the notes pane here and drag this bar up so that you can see them better. Copilot included more text, suggestions for what to say when presenting the slides. And along with the finished slides and notes, Copilot returns a comment that says, "Here's a draft of your deck. If you'd like, I can help you rewrite slides, or you can use Designer to adjust layouts." Smaller text below that says AI-generated content may be incorrect. This is a reminder. You'll have to fact-check the content on the draft slides for accuracy. Let's ask Copilot to create a presentation from a template. I'll use a Microsoft Office theme for this example. Select File, New, and choose one of the Office themes. You can scroll through the options on the new screen or type a topic in the search bar. I've recently opened Color Swatch, so it shows up here at the top. I'll choose Color Swatch and then press Create to open the file in PowerPoint. The file opens to a title slide with a colorful picture on it and some placeholder text, and there's a second slide with icons and more placeholder text. Now I'll open Copilot from the home ribbon. This will open up the Copilot pane. From the top of the pane, I'll choose Create a Presentation, and then at the bottom in the prompt window, I'll add a description of the presentation I want Copilot to create. I'll use a microphone to dictate my text into the prompt window. Press Microphone. About best practices for participating in remote meetings. Press the icon again when you're finished talking. Now to send the instructions to Copilot, I can press Enter on my keyboard or select the send arrow. A few comments while Copilot is working, and you can choose Stop Generating if you change your mind. Copilot has returned a note that says, "Creating a new presentation will replace your existing slides, so you may want to save a copy first." That's because the sample slides in this theme have sample content on them. It's not a blank file. I will choose Create a New Draft and remember to save my file with a new name after. Select Create New Draft. And done. Copilot has drafted 6 slides about remote meetings, and it's completed in the Color Swatch template. Each slide contains a title, supporting text, and a picture that relates to the content on the slide. Copilot also included speaker notes. I'll expand the speaker notes here so that you can see them. Full talking points on each subject. Again, in the Copilot pane, Copilot offers to help you rewrite slides, or you can use Designer to adjust layouts. The disclaimer at the bottom reminds us to fact-check Copilot's draft text for accuracy. Let's look at other designs that Designer suggests for this slide about testing your technology. With the slide open in the editing window, I can launch Designer from the Home ribbon, or I can select Designer highlighted here in the Copilot pane. When I choose any one of the ideas in the Designer pane, the current slide updates to that design. I can continue selecting designs until I find one that I like. If you change your mind, simply undo. You can press the Ctrl and Z keys on your keyboard or select the undo icon from the quick access toolbar. Remember, save your file with a new name. There may be some cases where you don't have a template or can't locate the template, but you do have an existing presentation, one that you want Copilot to use as a template for a new presentation. I've opened a Globe Bank file in PowerPoint. The file has 14 slides in it, but when I open the Layouts gallery from the Home ribbon, you can see that it's built with the Globe Bank template. There are 30 different layouts built into this template. I'll leave the slides as they are for now and launch Copilot from the Home ribbon. Because this presentation has slides in it, the Copilot pane suggestions reflect that and include things like summarize this presentation and organize this presentation. I don't want to try either of those. I want to create a new presentation that uses this look, this underlying template. Template. Let's look at the view prompts in the prompt window to see the examples under Create. I'll choose this second example, the suggestion, create a presentation about, and now I need to describe the presentation in the prompt window. I'll use the microphone to dictate. Press the microphone icon. Various ways employees can volunteer their time. And press the microphone again when you're finished talking. Now I'll press Enter on the keyboard, or you can use the send arrow to send the instructions to Copilot. A few process comments while Copilot is working. Copilot returns the message that says, creating a new presentation will replace your existing slides, so you may want to save a copy first. This is because our file has existing slides. It's saving you from overwriting your work. I will choose Create a New Draft and then save the results later with a new file name. Choose Create New Draft. Copilot says it's finishing up. You can press Stop Generating if you want to cancel the process at any time. And done. 6 slides on our volunteering topic. The slides use the Globe Bank template, and Copilot has drafted slides using a few different slide layouts. I'll stretch this bar up so you can see Copilot has returned speaker notes supporting the content on each slide, and there's a note in the Copilot pane offering to help you rewrite slides, or you can use Designer to adjust layouts. The disclaimer at the bottom, this is a reminder, fact check Copilot's draft text for accuracy. And remember, save your presentation with a new file name. Copilot can create a presentation from a document. This can be a huge time saver, and it's a perfect task for Copilot. To start with, I'd like the draft presentation to be in the Globe Bank brand, so I've opened their template. This template has a set of sample slides included. I can leave these slides for now, because Copilot will replace them with all new draft slides. I'll save the file later with a new name. I'll launch Copilot from the top right of the Home ribbon. This will open up the Copilot pane. And from the top of the pane, I'll choose the second suggestion, Create Presentation from File. At the bottom, Copilot automatically surfaces some suggested files from my recently opened documents. Now, in order for Copilot to create a presentation from a file, that file must be a Word document and it has to be located on your OneDrive or SharePoint. I'll press the Alt and Tab keys on my keyboard to switch to my open OneDrive site. For the presentation content, I'll use this Word doc called About Globe Bank International. It consists of about 4 pages of text with headings, supporting paragraphs, and bulleted items. I can choose the 3 dots next to the file name and copy link. You can also right-click on the file name and do the same thing. Great. It says link copied. I can close this dialog and use the Alt Tab keys on my keyboard to switch back to PowerPoint. Now I'll put my cursor in the prompt window and then press the Control and V keys on my keyboard. That will paste the link that I just copied from OneDrive. Now I need to press Enter on the keyboard or choose the send arrow to send the prompt to Copilot. A few process comments, and Copilot returns a note. Creating a new presentation will replace your existing slides, so you may want to save a copy first. We can either save a new copy now or create a new draft and save it later. I'll choose Create New Draft. Copilot says that it's finding my file and drafting the presentation. While it's working, Copilot returned an outline of the presentation that it's generating. This is a list of topics from that source document, along with the reminder that AI-generated content may be incorrect. It's generating the slides and adding speaker notes. Done. Copilot returned a note. It's drafted 9 slides and made some changes based on the doc. It included speaker notes containing additional details, added images to make the deck more engaging, and applied layouts to organize slides. Also, you can use Designer for adjusting layouts. And then our AI-generated content may be incorrect. Reminder at the bottom to fact check. Let's look at the few slides that were drafted by Copilot. Now, this title slide looks blank. I can apply another layout from this template or use Designer for suggestions. The same is true for any of the slides drafted by Copilot. There's an agenda, about Globe Bank, our worldwide presence, global vision, and so on. Now let's see what Copilot suggests for this slide. I'll choose Designer from this note on the Copilot pane, and it's generating design ideas. And now I can choose any one of these new slide thumbnails, and the slide will change in the editing view. At any point, you can select Undo on the Quick Access toolbar or press Ctrl-Z on the keyboard to undo. Now the last step here, I need to save this draft presentation. Select the Save icon from the Quick Access toolbar, or you can choose File Save, or press Ctrl and S keys on your keyboard. Don't forget to give your file a descriptive name. You can prompt Copilot to add new slides to an existing presentation. Maybe you just learned of an additional topic for a meeting, or you'd like an agenda slide. Ask Copilot to add a slide and describe what you need in the prompt text. I've opened this draft presentation that Copilot generated on the topic Ways Employees Can Volunteer Their Time. Let's add a new slide to this deck. I'd like the new slide to be at the end, so I'll select the last slide. Copilot will add the new slide after this one. And then I'll launch Copilot from the Home ribbon. From the top of the Copilot pane, I'll choose Add a Slide About. Now this prompt suggestion can also be found when you choose View Prompts and then Create. It's the third option here. Or you can simply type this into the prompt area. Add a slide about. Now I need to describe the type of slide that I want Copilot to create. I'll use the microphone to dictate. Select the microphone icon. The benefits of volunteering. And press the microphone when I'm done talking. Now to send the instructions to Copilot, I can use the Enter key on my keyboard or press the send arrow. And that sends the prompt off. Copilot returns a few process comments. You can always cancel by choosing Stop Generating. And done. Copilot has returned a slide about the benefits of volunteering with a few statements and a picture. In the pane, Copilot says, "Here you go. If you'd like, Designer also has some other layout options to consider," along with the small text reminding us to double-check all draft content for accuracy. Now, a tip here, you can ask Copilot for more than one slide in a single prompt. You can try something like add 3 slides about and fill in the specific information that you want Copilot to return on those new slides. Using the employee volunteering presentation, let's add an agenda slide right after the title slide. I'll launch Copilot from the Home ribbon. Now, Copilot Lab features more prompt ideas than shown in the Copilot pane. From the prompt window, I'll choose the View Prompt icon and then select View More Prompts to open the Copilot Lab. One of these prompts is Add an Agenda slide. When you choose a prompt suggestion from Copilot Lab, it populates the prompt window with that text. Alternatively, you can simply type it in yourself, Add an Agenda slide. Now, I need to send the instructions to Copilot by choosing the Enter key on my keyboard or selecting the Send arrow. And you can cancel at any time by choosing Stop Generating. And done. Copilot has returned a draft agenda slide listing each of the main topics in the presentation. In the pane, Copilot writes, "Here you go. If you'd like, Designer has some other options for you to consider," with the small disclaimer at the bottom reminding you to thoroughly review, proof, and check all of the draft content. There are various ways to use Copilot when refining a presentation. Copilot can organize your presentation, grouping slides into sections, and it can be helpful when editing slide content, whether the slides were generated from a prompt or not. First, let's organize a presentation into sections. I've opened a Globe Bank presentation that Copilot created from a file. I'll launch Copilot from the Home ribbon, and from the Copilot pane, I'll choose Organize this presentation. While it's working, you'll see a few process comments, and you can cancel at any time by choosing Stop Generating. Copilot's putting it all together, looking things over, and done. Copilot has modified the presentation and added a note in the Copilot pane. Here's a suggestion for how to structure your deck. It's grouped the slides into sections, and it's added a few new slides. I'll open up the thumbnails pane a little bit wider by dragging this bar so you can see Copilot did include a few sections and grouped our slides into those sections. It's also added a new slide introducing each section: services, customers, about Globe Bank International, and agenda. Now, at any point, if you don't like any of these pictures, you can use Copilot to replace that picture. I'll show you how later in this chapter. Editing text is a time-consuming task. This is a good use for Copilot. When you're refining slides in a presentation, you can prompt Copilot to do the editing for you. Let's try it out with this volunteering draft that I have open. I think the text on this slide is a bit wordy, so let's ask Copilot to make some edits. I'll open Copilot from the Home ribbon. And at the bottom of the pane in the prompt window, I need to tell Copilot how I want it to edit this slide. I'll use the microphone to dictate the prompt. Edit the text to short phrases. When I'm done, select the microphone to stop dictation, and now I can press Enter on the keyboard or select the send arrow to send the prompt to Copilot. While it's working, you'll see some process comments. Of course, you can always cancel by choosing Stop Generating. All set. Copilot has edited the text, and now we have shorter phrases for each statement. This is just one way to prompt Copilot to edit text. Let's try another. On this slide, I'll type a new prompt in the prompt window. Using the microphone to dictate, rewrite text to be more conversational. Select the microphone when I'm done, press Enter on the keyboard, or choose the arrow to send the prompt to Copilot. We see process comments. And done. It has rewritten the slide. It is a paragraph of text instead of separate bullet points. The headline is more conversational. Now, you can try other prompts, like edit this text into 2 brief statements or rewrite text to be more professional. Experiment with slight wording changes in your prompts to get different results from Copilot. And if you don't like the results, you can always undo by pressing the Undo button on your Quick Access toolbar, or press the Ctrl-Z keys on your keyboard to go back to the original slide. You can ask Copilot to change the text formatting on your slides, things like make text bold or italic, or recolor titles, for instance. This presentation drafted by Copilot uses a bold style for titles. Let's make a global style change. First, open Copilot from the top right of the Home ribbon. At the bottom of the Copilot pane in the prompt area, I'll use my microphone to dictate a new prompt. Select the microphone. Change all titles to non-bold. Press the microphone when I'm done, and then I need to send the instructions to Copilot using the Enter key on my keyboard or the send arrow. A few process comments, and finished. Let's look at a few of these slides so you can see the titles are now all non-bold. Let's try another simple formatting change. This time, I just want to make the change to this slide. I'll dictate into the prompt area again, select the microphone icon, change the title color to orange. Press the microphone when you're done dictating, and then send the prompt to Copilot using the Enter key on your keyboard or the send arrow. And Copilot's working, and finished. Our title is now orange on this slide, but it's remained blue on the other content slide. Next, I'll ask Copilot to change the title font on all slides. In the prompt area at the bottom of the Copilot pane, I'll type, "Change all title font to Sagona." Now I'll press the Enter key on my keyboard, or you can use the arrow key to send the prompt to Copilot. And completed. Each title is now in the Sagona font. Remember, if you don't like the results that Copilot returns, you can always undo. Select the Undo button from the Quick Access toolbar, or press the Ctrl and Z keys on your keyboard to undo. Also, when you're changing colors or fonts, realize that Copilot is only changing these on the slide level. The underlying slide master and layout retains its original formatting. If you find a prompt isn't working, try rewording it. Sometimes Copilot is looking for a specific name that PowerPoint uses for a feature or a slide element. When you're reviewing a presentation drafted by Copilot, you might find a picture doesn't quite fit with the slide text or topic. You can ask Copilot to replace that picture with something else. Let's try it in this volunteering presentation. First, I'll open Copilot from the top right of the home ribbon, and then I'll switch to the second slide. I don't think this picture quite suits the slide topic, so I'll ask Copilot to change it. In the prompt area at the bottom of the Copilot pane, I'll use the microphone to dictate the new prompt. Select the microphone icon. Replace picture with people volunteering. Press the microphone icon when I'm done, and now to send the prompt to Copilot, press Enter on my keyboard or press the Send icon. A few process comments while Copilot is working. And finished. That's much better. And Copilot has returned this picture from Microsoft stock images. You can use these in your presentations. Copilot has also reformatted the slide using a different slide layout, the same layout as used by a few other slides in this deck. Along with the new slide, Copilot returned a note. Okay, here you go. This picture has been replaced with people volunteering at a charity event. At any point, you can replace a picture yourself. You can insert your own pictures or a new one from the Microsoft stock image library, for instance. And notice the disclaimer is there too, reminding you to check everything for accuracy. Sometimes you receive a large presentation and need to quickly retrieve some facts or information from the slides. Copilot can save you time with that. You can use it to summarize a deck, show action items, or perhaps call out key slides for review. I've opened a Globe Bank presentation that Copilot drafted from a file. I'll open Copilot from the top right of the home ribbon. And at the top of the Copilot pane, I'll choose Summarize this presentation. You'll see some process comments while Copilot is working. And it's quickly returned a summary of the deck with 4 main ideas. I'll scroll back up so you can see them. Next to each main idea are some small numbers. These are references to the slides where Copilot pulled the information from. Scrolling down, you see there's a copy button. You can copy this summary, paste it into a document or maybe on a new slide. Below that is a disclaimer reminding us to fact-check Copilot's work for accuracy. And further down is 7 references. I'll expand this, and you'll see that Copilot has included the reference slides that it's used for the summary text. I can expand any one of these. When I select the slide title, it will automatically switch to that slide in editing view. The note has been expanded to show you the text that Copilot referenced for the summary. Copilot can help you understand and retrieve information from a presentation. You might want to know which slides have key ideas, or if there are dates, tasks, or a call to action. I've opened a Globe Bank presentation that Copilot created from a file. And now I'll open Copilot from the top right of the home ribbon. Notice on the top of the Copilot pane, because our presentation has content, Copilot is suggesting a few things to try, like summarize this presentation or organize this presentation. Notice on the pane, there are 2 questions above the prompt area. You might have seen these during other Copilot requests. Copilot has scanned the presentation and returned 2 questions that might help you understand a specific topic or perhaps the overall subject. I'll select the bottom one. What are some of the customers of Globe Bank International? Copilot returns a detailed answer, followed by a copy button. You can copy this text and use it elsewhere. Notice the disclaimer text reminding you to fact-check the content for accuracy. Now let's look at another way that Copilot can help you understand a presentation. I'll choose the View Prompt icon from the prompt area, and you'll see 4 different prompt categories. I'll select Understand. Now we see a few examples of ways that Copilot can help you understand the presentation, like summarize, or are there any dates or deadlines, show action items, or show key slides in this deck. I'll select the last one. We see some process comments while Copilot is working. And it returns a note. Here are some key slides with 3 slide titles and their slide numbers listed below. There's also a copy button. You can copy these results and paste them onto a slide or perhaps in an email to share with someone else. This is followed by the note about AI-generated content. Let's try another example. Press the View Prompt icon, and from there I'll select Understand. This time from the examples list, I'll choose Show Action Items. Copilot returns a note that says, no explicit action items were identified, but here are some recommended next steps. Each bulleted statement is followed by a reference number. When I hover on the number, Copilot shows me the text it referenced from that slide. There's also a copy button for you to copy and paste this information for use elsewhere. The note about AI-generated content, followed by 6 references. When I expand the arrow, I get an individual link to each referenced slide. I'll select the arrow next to the first reference. Copilot shows us the text that it referenced from slide 1. When I select a slide title from the references list, it switches to that slide in the editing window. Try other prompts in Copilot to help you find the exact information you need from a presentation. Experiment with your prompts and see how Copilot can help you understand and retrieve content from a presentation. Copilot can create and edit slides and help you understand, organize, and summarize presentations. It can also help by answering specific questions about your presentation content, or it can answer a question you might have about presentations in general. You can also ask Copilot for help with a task in PowerPoint. I've opened a Globe Bank presentation. Now I'll launch Copilot from the Home ribbon. At the bottom of the pane, I'll choose the View Prompt icon and then select Ask. This window includes a couple of examples. I'll select How can Copilot help? And it returns a detailed note. I can enhance your productivity and help you create stunning presentations by, followed by 4 ways that Copilot can help. There's also a link to learn more about Copilot that takes you to a Microsoft support page. I'd like to ask Copilot for help with a general presentation question. Open Copilot from the Home ribbon. And at the bottom in the prompt area, I'll use the microphone to dictate my question. What are some tips for creating an effective presentation? Press the microphone icon when finished, and then select the send arrow to send the question to Copilot. If few process comments while it's working. And Copilot answers the question. It says this response isn't based on the presentation. Here are some tips for creating an effective presentation, followed with some guidance on that. There's a copy button and the disclaimer at the bottom. Below that, Copilot has included a couple of similar questions. You can select one of these and populate the prompt with that question. Send to Copilot and retrieve another answer. Another way Copilot can help is when you'd like to know how to do something in PowerPoint. I'll switch to this slide and then open Copilot from the home ribbon. And at the bottom in the prompt area, I'll use the microphone to dictate my question to PowerPoint. How do I change this slide layout? Press the microphone when finished, and then send that question off to Copilot using the Enter key on your keyboard or the Send arrow. A few process comments while it's working. And Copilot has answered my question. You can find the Change Slide Layout feature on the Home tab of the ribbon, but I can't access it directly. Would you like me to show you where it is? I'll select the Show Me button, and a bold orange notification pops up with an arrow pointing to the Layout tab. I'll select Got It and open the Layout tab now that I know where it is, and I can choose a different layout from the gallery. These are just a couple of ways Copilot can help you in PowerPoint. Try asking Copilot for help the next time you need to find something in a deck or want to know something about presentations, or if you'd like to know how to do something in PowerPoint. Copilot has some limitations that you should keep in mind. Copilot in PowerPoint doesn't save the context of your chat, so it won't be able to refer to things you said earlier. It can add only a limited variety of images. It can't yet add animations, transitions, videos, tables, smart art, or other more complex object types. Copilot might not work well on a slide containing pre-existing smart art tables or charts. And Copilot in PowerPoint doesn't currently support referencing organizational assets in Microsoft 365. There is a 2,000 character limit for prompt text. This includes characters and spaces in the prompt. When you've exceeded the threshold, Copilot returns a note that says, "I'm still learning. That request is too large. Would you mind simplifying your request to the one thing you want me to do?" I've found that Copilot returns better results when your prompts are limited to one task at a time. Be specific with your prompt. Want specific text on a slide? Put it in quote marks. Experiment with prompts to learn how Copilot responds. Vary the way you word your prompts and notice any subtle changes in the responses or on the draft slides. Refine your prompts until you find what works best for your specific needs. Copilot leverages GPT, a new AI system from OpenAI that creates text based on a prompt. As it is a new system, it may create things you didn't expect. Also, because new draft content is generated by an AI that draws from the internet, it may contain inaccuracies or sensitive material. If you find unexpected or offensive content, send feedback to Microsoft. Just select the thumbs up or thumbs down button in the Copilot chat box. This feedback will be used to help Microsoft improve Copilot in PowerPoint. The interactions you have with Copilot in PowerPoint are not being used to train the large language models that Copilot uses. According to Microsoft 365 Copilot is built on Microsoft's comprehensive approach to security, compliance, and privacy. Your data, including prompts, responses, and the business data Copilot uses to formulate its response, isn't used to train the foundational large language models that Copilot uses. Copilot is an assistant. It can get you started, but it's your responsibility to make sure the work was done correctly. When new content is drafted, Copilot includes a disclaimer. AI-generated content may be incorrect. Be sure to review and verify the information that it generates. It's up to you to review all of the drafted content, including speaker notes, to make sure that your presentation is accurate. You can find more information about Copilot on the Microsoft Support website. For Copilot in PowerPoint specifically, select the PowerPoint icon under Explore What's Possible with Copilot. This takes you to the Copilot in PowerPoint page. This page has links to learn more about creating and summarizing a presentation, tips for organizing your presentation, and details on making presentations look great. There's a section about prompts. You can follow the link Get Tips on Copilot Prompts to download a PDF on the art and science of prompting with Microsoft 365 Copilot. Thank you for completing this course. I've shown you how to use Copilot in PowerPoint to create new presentations, to refine your slides, and to understand presentation content. For your next steps, try Copilot yourself. Keep refining your prompt text to find ways that Copilot can assist you in PowerPoint. Again, I'm Julie Terberg, and I'm excited for you to apply the lessons you've learned in this course to prompt Copilot in PowerPoint for help with your next presentation.